So I was asked a question a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, and it was around the content of why am I so positive all the time? And I want to preface with the fact that I'm really not a super positive person. I'm more positive now than I was 2 years ago, a year ago, but it's not toxic positivity. That's the first word that the first phrase that came to thought when I was thinking of an answer to this question. It's I'm not someone who is filled with, everything has to be okay, everything has to be um, all sunshine and rainbows, everything. I don't have to deny my negative feelings that I have in my body, in my heart, in my mind. And I have to understand that some things are just not, there's no positive spin on some things. You just have to nod and accept it. So people mistake my willingness to accept things as they are, to not overreact, to not underreact, but to not overreact as well. And they mistake that as being positive. It's not being positive. It's called the art of Stoicism. There's a whole philosophy branch of it, a whole tree of it actually, that comes from into the art of Stoicism. And Stoicism in itself is just the acceptance of things that you cannot control and not giving it a reaction that is going to either do bad things to you, give you bad energy, bad mojo. Stoicism is the art of accepting things as they are and being able to adapt with it accordingly, and not letting it control and dictate the rest of your day, the rest of your outlook on life, or anything like that. Now, am I more positive than I am not? When people are down themselves, do I try to be there to be a strong arm for them? Of course, but that's just being I think a strong human. I admire and I strive to be a strong human for other people. I want to be the person that I needed at my lowest point for other people. We have enough people in this world that are negative, that are nasty, that are just rude to be rude, and it's from all sides of the aisle. This is no pointing fingers at any kind of particular kind of person. But we live in a world where everything is dark and grim, and with the era of social media that we are in, that we live in an era where all of that is amplified to the 10th degree. And I just realized 10 years ago, and especially now this year, that I didn't want to be an asshole or a negative person anymore. But within this last year, I realized that I want to be a strong person for other people, but as well for myself. And being a strong person is being able to look at things with face value and address them in a mature and educated manner. Because again, it's not about understating things and saying that, oh, it's all gonna be okay, man. There's nothing wrong with this, or being so positive where I turn people's negatives and try to turn those negatives into a positive that actually makes them a worse person over time. That is something that happens more and more nowadays. Do it for the plot, girl. Do it for this reason, girl. Oh, just do it because I love being toxic, girl. It's like, no, we should not be praising these mentalities. That's toxic positivity as well. When you're being so positive to people's negative habits and negative attitudes and the negative things they do to other people, that you're basically turning that positivity, again, you're turning it toxic. You're making other people worse by encouraging and condoning shitty behavior. Toxic positivity is a wide spectrum of things, and I really wanted to address that because people have been asking me a lot this year, because I've been sharing a lot of stuff on philosophy on social media, and I've been talking to people on a first-hand basis about these kinds of things. And I just wanted to reiterate that being positive itself is not the cure to life's woes. I don't come at things with a positive attitude. I come at it with a realistic but slightly optimistic attitude. But it is layered and set in a world of realism. I accept the world as it is. I am not going to just scoff and deny facts at face value. If something is bad, something is bad. But there is a way to put a positive spin on it, whether it's an educational, whether it's a changing of the mood, or being that strong arm to help someone up because they're feeling low about something. Or by feeding a fat dog who just wants to come over here to get treats. Talking to you. Fatty, you look down. You look down, you feel shame. You are a tubby boy. That's why we call you Tubbert. Oh. Oh, yeah. The old give daddy a kiss routine, huh? Give daddy a kiss and maybe get a treat routine, huh? Well, too bad for you. It totally works. It totally works, but only if you can get it. That's my boy. So we're gonna watch this video, and I'm gonna give my takes on it, my own perspective on it. But let me know what y'all think about that as well, because like this is a very wide. This is just a topic that I feel much more knowledgeable about because of the things I've lived through this year in my own mentality.
How do you know where to draw the line between toxic positivity and affirming self-talk? That's what I'm talking about today. I'm Dr. Tracy Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. Today's video is based.
Hold on. You get one more thing of Coda. No more. Yo. All right. Continue, lady. Dr. Tracy Marks.
On a viewer question
Salud.
from Anandu, who says, can you do a video on negative power of fake and toxic positivity and overdose motivation? Thanks, Anandu, for your question. An emotionally healthy state is one in which you can experience and express a full range of emotions from happy to sad to mad to fearful. If you get stuck on one and eliminate others, you're not whole. Happy and positive thoughts feel good, but it's not the only emotion you have.
You have to understand that you as a human being are you're filled with a wide variety of feelings and emotions that don't even specifically can be pinpointed into what are those listed. There's different nuances within those emotions, some that are intermixed, interladen, and it's okay to feel those things. The denial of these things is not a healthy mannerism to have. That's one thing I noticed I did for myself this year, because I was denying a lot of things myself. I was saying I was not certain kinds of feelings, whether it was negative or positive. I refused to allow those things because I was so dead set on just feeling sad and depressed, or by being overly optimistic. And you can't be like that. In order to grow as a human being, you have to be able to sit back and realize that you as a human being are not only flawed, but you as a human being are by nature complicit in feeling all of these things, because we're all complicated humans, or at least we all seem to be complicated humans. Obviously there are some people that are just very simplistic, and more power to them, but that's not how I operate, and that's not how many people like you operate.
We naturally want to eliminate negative emotions.
Yes.
And because of this, many people can grow up having trouble owning negative emotions and can feel guilty about having them. This guilt and shame over being negative can lead to toxic positivity. We can define toxic positivity as rejecting or dismissing negative emotions and replacing them with false reassurances. You excessively focus on the good side of things and fail to appreciate the true feeling that the person is experiencing.
Because if you fail to appreciate the true feelings that you are experiencing, what other people are experiencing, you're denying the human experience. The human experience is how you as a human being grow as an individual. I wrote something down here that I'm going to do for a whole video about, like, it's going to be called What is Strength, right? And I want to do more not positive affirmation, but more holistic and human-based videos, as well as all my entertainment stuff. But it was a quote that I read on educating yourself on that said human experience, is that you have to follow your heart to teach your heart. And when you follow your heart to teach it, which is harsh lessons or good lessons, if you are a person who is more adept and in tune with your emotions, you will then either fall to your heart and let your heart win and let it consume you and let it be consumed by that one particular emotion, or the opposite, be consumed by that opposite emotion and deny any positive or negative feelings that you have, or through what you go through, which is what I went through a lot of that this year. Through all those things I went through, I can educate my heart on the things that it does not want to feel anymore. It's boundaries, things that you like and dislike, but you can also educate it on future things to be aware of so that you don't fall prey to those things again. and you yourself become a stronger and more realized individual through it.
Here's how toxic positivity can affect the way you think or the way you interact with others. First, here's how it can affect you. You can avoid talking about or even thinking about uncomfortable feelings. You feel guilty when you experience negative emotions like anger. When bad things happen, you only acknowledge the positive aspect.
Or when you avoid talking about or even thinking about uncomfortable feelings, or you walk away from conversations, or you put it off. Just straight up trying to shirk the duty of addressing those things. You feel guilty when you experience negative emotions, which happens. I've felt that sometimes. Like I feel negative emotions towards people, and for some reason in this world we tend to say, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. And here's the thing: feelings aren't rational. So maybe there's no rational reason why you should feel X, Y, or Z reason towards someone, but you still feel it anyway. That's because you, on a chemical level, are not rational. Human beings do things for no reason sometimes. People do things to follow their dick, to follow their horny nature, to follow a dopamine chase. Things that are not logical, that will throw and tear their lives apart. They will do it just for that rush or for that feel good, that safe feeling. People don't want to do things that risk their integrity. People want to do things that make them feel safe or feel comfortable or feel good.
Of the situation, and you admire people who are always positive and you aspire to be like them. Here are some of the things that you can say to others. No worries. Look on the bright side. It could be much worse. You can tell someone who has suffered a tragedy, everything happens for a reason. Toxic positivity can be damaging on several levels. It damages relationships when you invalidate someone's feelings.
Which you can't do. We're all guilty of it. I've done it, you've done it, we've all done it. But I disagree with her take on everything happens for a reason. That's true. Things happen for a reason, because of some kind of physical, mental, or spiritual reasoning is why something happens to you or to others. And everything happens for a reason, because that's the world we live in. We live in an unfair, unjust, and uncaring world at the end of it all. And the only things you can do from that, which again is the antithesis of toxic positivity, is you have to address that these things just do happen. And you can either learn from these and become tougher through it, or you can let it sit with you and traumatize you and let it bring you down so that it affects the rest of your life, which you can't do because you have a whole life to live, man. And you can't let over negative things or overly fake positive things guide you, because it's going to lead you astray.
It also can make the person that you're speaking with feel like they can't relate to you. If it's someone
because it's not human, it's not normal.
Support, like a child or a loved one, it can make them feel even worse about themselves.
Yep.
When they can't dismiss the negative thoughts like you expect them to. As for the effect on yourself, believing that you're not allowed to think negatively can make you suppress emotions that are real, causing those emotions to show themselves in other ways,
yes,
like becoming anxious or depressed.
Which I felt that a lot.
A therapy technique based on the psychological defense mechanism of suppression.
For example, I had a conversation with my mother this year when I was in Japan. I was feeling really bad, feeling really down, and feeling really on myself. And I was trying just to talk to my mother, and my mother was doing the stereotypical Asian mother thing of she was trying to be logical. And for the first time in my life, I superseded my own barriers and my own weird idiosyncrasies in terms of communicating with my mother. And I looked at her. Oh, I didn't look at her because I was on the phone. I straight up told my mother, she was trying to come up with some plans for when I came back to the United States of how I would restructure and rebuild my life, and how I should handle things emotionally. And I said, Mom, can you please shut up? And she said, what? I was like, I don't want to hear some kind of plan. I don't want to dance around these feelings that I have. I don't want to just be like, I don't want to live in this world where, oh, it's just going to be okay, or you have to just tough through it. Let me feel it, man. Let me feel these things that I'm feeling. And can you please not be head nurse, not be big boss Asian mother? Can you just sit there, shut up, and listen to me and be a mom? and just tell me it's gonna be okay? Can you just tell me that that she knows what I'm going through hurts? I'm like, can you please be a human for 5 minutes, please? In 31, 32 years, I did not ask that of her. I would always dance around it. But now, as I sit here as a more mature and I think emotionally in tune individual, the fact I reached towards my mother that way, who I've had a bad relationship with for the longest time, I sat there with her and she heard me. And ever since then, our relationship has been 1,000 times better. Where she'll go off on a tangent like that, and I'll be like, Mom, I need you to shut up. Let me just talk. Let me just vent, please. And she actually listens. The things you don't realize that you're doing to other people, if other people could just stop and be like, can you please just listen to me? And not get, and spell it out. Because some people just don't realize that's what they're doing. But when you're able to have that human moment where you connect like that and you awaken someone and in tune them with what you're feeling, your relationships can improve.
With thought stopping, you intentionally cast aside negative thoughts and replace those thoughts with something positive. It turns out that the act of not trying to think about something makes you think about it even more.
Oh, yeah.
Also, stuffing negative feelings sends the message that the negative feelings are not okay to have and you need to act as though they don't exist.
Negative feelings are a part of being human. Watch Evangelion.
So thought stopping has fallen out of favor as a go-to coping strategy. By the way,
because it doesn't work.
It's different from the defense mechanism of repression.
You wonder why people were
Suppression
drinking
is
back in the
intentionally
40s and 50s and
blocking
60s and
unwanted thoughts.
addicted to stimulants.
Repression is where you unconsciously block unacceptable thoughts as a coping mechanism. You're not aware of and don't accept the thought that you're blocking. For example, let's say I mistakenly call my husband by his brother's name. I make that slip because I have a repressed romantic desire for his brother and wish he were my husband.
I hope she's not
I will
like...
never admit this or even believe that it's true, because that desire is so wrong to me that my mind blocks it from my awareness.
I was like, are you just confessing something right now on this video that you should not be admitting? Ma'am, this is not the video.
Positivity, either with yourself or with others. Here are 2 approaches. Number 1 is employ self-compassion and acceptance for yourself. Stress and pain are part of the human experience.
Yes.
And you must come to terms with this. Coming to terms is allowing yourself to experience the negativity. One way to do this,
you have to experience the whole range of life in order to be a complete human being. If you're not, that's when you stagnate as a human being, and that's when
you'll want to put
bad habits come and
but
form out.
Research shows that attaching a label or a name to how you feel makes it feel more real and lessens the threat of the emotion. It's like it pops the balloon.
Yeah, you're addressing it.
Label the emotion.
Addressing it, labeling it,
permission to be in this
and familiarizing
and
with
this
it.
Isn't to say that you should live here forever. There comes a time to shift your mindset to something.
You can't live in a world in the world that your emotions want to paint it as, because if you live in that world, you stay out of the real world. And it paints things as an overly negative or an overly positive way, which again affects how you interact and how you conduct yourself with people in the rest of civilization. You have to be a fucking human being, and you have to again pull up your big boy, big girl britches. And you have to eventually get over that thing that you're feeling, whether it is positive or it is negative. Because again, if you live in it, it's going to change how you interact with people that you love, the people you care about, and the people that you want to do more in life with. And you don't want to bring that on other people. If you live in those toxic environments that you've constructed for yourself in your mind, it's going to build a world that is... it's not going to be a better world for you. It's going to be worse. You think you're safe, but you're not.
More adaptive. The way you make that shift is to focus on resilience. Resilience is adapting to your circumstance in the face of adversity. So you
have to teach your heart in order to toughen your heart.
And persevering doesn't mean you pretend to enjoy it.
No.
You just accept it and work through it. Also, remember the negative and positive emotions are not mutually exclusive. You can experience them both simultaneously.
You can put a veil over yourself while you feel those emotions because you want to live in that emotion because it hurts and you want to try to escape it, but you also maybe become like almost Stockholm syndrome afflicted by that emotion. But as I called it this year, the veil of naivete needs to come off your eyes at some point, and you need to look at the real world and step out of it. And it's going to take time. It's still going to affect you in terms of how you think and feel and operate. And whatever is hurting you, those things are going to hit you out of nowhere. I remember right before I went and did a main event for Big Japan, I was in this at the Itsubashi Square, which was a new venue at the time, and it was myself and Dale Patricks, and we were about to go out. And we had like 5 to 10 minutes, and we're sitting there calling over the match, going over it. Okay. And all of a sudden, I just had to stop, and I grabbed Dale, and I pulled him into a room, and he's like, "You good?" And I just started crying, and he just understood. He understood. Sat there, and he just let me sit there in that fucking moment and feel it. I put my head on his fucking chest. He just patted me on the back. He said, I'm here, right here for you, bro. I got it all out. I didn't revel in it, but I allowed myself to feel it. I didn't want to hide it and suppress it, because that's a huge thing in Japan too, is people suppressing their feelings in order to appear some kind of professional. But at least I found a way to cope and operate in that world. But I eventually wiped off my tears, coughed, looked up at Dale, nodded my head. He said, "You good?" I said, "I'm good." We went out, we did the main event. Simple as that.
You can be angry that you didn't get a promotion while you still enjoy your job. So that's the first approach that focuses on you with self-compassion and acceptance. The second approach is to focus on others by showing empathy and validation.
Yeah.
You want to allow the other person to express their true feelings instead of trying to get them to see the positive.
You don't want to
show
deny people's negative feelings,
ask
man.
questions,
You just can't.
offer help. So instead of saying,
Because you wouldn't want that
"Look on
done
the
to you."
bright side," say things like, "I'm sorry you're going through this. That sounds really difficult.
I'm here for you. Acknowledge what they're going through, but always reach out to that hand and be like, "Hey, I'm here for you, man. I'm here to pick you up." But it's okay to feel these things.
How are you doing?" You could even say, "I wish I knew what to say."
It's okay to say, "I don't
You're
know."
not trying to give the perfect
We
response.
live
You're
in a
just there
world where people are
listen.
afraid to
They
say,
may
"I don't know
even
what you're
say,
feeling,
"You don't
but
need to
I'm
say
here for
anything.
you."
I just want
I
to
don't
know
know is a
about
powerful
you. Then you
statement
can follow
that people
up
are
with,
afraid to
"Let me
say.
know if I can help." These
You don't
kinds
know
of
everything.
statements feel accepting and validating because they don't dismiss the person's feelings
Yes.
as if their feelings are wrong or unjustified.
Mm-hmm.
You may say, "What if the person is always complaining about something?" Well, if the person is your friend, you can still meet them where they are. If they're not asking for your opinion, your role is just to empathize. You're not there to be their therapist or help them advance to a better place. The person isn't going to see the light just
No.
because you cut them off with a positive statement. The person has to be open and wanting to change the way that
A lot of
they
people
think
aren't
and
wanting to
view the
change
world
either.
because they see the need.
And some people have built a world of toxic positivity and toxic negativity in their life. So, and they're comfortable living in that. And you as a human being should want to change and grow and adapt and become a better and stronger human being on a day-to-day basis. And there's some people that are just not willing to do that, even though it's negatively affecting their lives. And you can suggest it, try to pull them, try to show them what they're doing is hurting them and others in the long run. But at the end of the day, people have to come face to face with the decisions that they need to make on their own. You cannot lead a horse to water, as the old saying goes. You have to just be there when that time comes, so that a way you can help guide them when they're ready to drink that water.
For that kind of change. If the person says, "I wish I could see things more positively and I hate being negative," then we have a different situation. Have them watch this video on finding meaning by doing things that you value, and this one on processing negative emotions.
And all those things you learn to do when you're in a foreign country. But no, that's just something that has been living in my mind recently. People have asked me about that while I was in Japan, and while I was trying to not reset my mind, but retriangulate where my mind was looking. I had a lot of people that were messaging me trying to be, again, very positive, and when I was at my lowest point. And I just straight up was just like, I'm like, listen, man, like, there's a reason why people got mad I wasn't responding. And I said, because if I respond to this, I'm playing into the fact that I'm feeling these things, but I don't want to feel it. And I realized at the end of the day that I have to feel all the positive and negative things, all the positive and negative memories of my own life in order to properly process how I'm here right now as a human being and how I want to operate going forward. Whether it is things in pro wrestling, things in my life, things with relationships, how I want to operate and how I want to see myself in the future, and who I want to be in 10 years. You know, people say they want to be X, Y, or Z in 10 years, but they don't talk about the kind of person that they want to be in the next 10 years. It's always some kind of financial or some kind of job-based bullshit. For myself, like, obviously I have those dreams and aspirations too. You have to have those things, because it's just dreaming. But I don't know if those things are going to come true. I don't know if I'm going to get signed again. I don't know all of these things. And I have to acknowledge the fact that maybe I live in a world where I'm not the main character, because I'm not. I'm just some cog in the machine of pro wrestling and now the Twitch streaming and entertainment mogul. But I have to accept the fact that I might just not make it. I might just barely make a living for the rest of my life. And that's a hard thing to accept. There's a lot of people that want to live in this world. And there's a lot of people that thrive off that negative emotion or that overly positive emotion that drives them, to try to make it. But when they do things like that, it hurts people all around them. You can't be like that. You can't do that. I have to accept that I am just a human being in a world of people trying to make it, trying to do his best, trying to do their best, trying to do her best. And I might not achieve the dreams that I hope to achieve. I might not. Do I think I could and I should? Yeah. Fuck yeah. Why shouldn't I? But I also know that we live in a world where it might not happen. I might be 65 and have to retire pro wrestling and have never made it anywhere else, and I go work a job bagging groceries till the day I die. It's possible. Or maybe Twitch streaming and all this other stuff goes off and maybe I find a better life. I don't know. But it's okay to feel those things. It's okay to understand those things. It's powerful to own it and not just deny it. Because if you can face into the negative aspects of the world that we live in, you can face anything, and you can take your own power back. You can take your power back and be in control of yourself. And at the end of the day, you can't control the world, but you can control who you are and how you interact and how you deal with things that affect you in your life. That's all you can take out of it. And that's all you can do. Be in control of you and be one with the world. What happens, happens, and you have to operate with it. And you can influence where you can, but sometimes you can't force things. It's okay. Take a deep breath and realize you're a fucking human being, and no matter what, I love you for your faults and your positives and everything in between.